Good evening, everybody. Welcome to America's Third Party and Conspiracy Monday. I'm David Sponheim. We are dealing, of course, with the coronavirus on a daily basis, as usual. Big fakery going on. Constant talk about how the numbers keep increasing every day, more than every other day. Not one single stitch of proof. We have people being fired in Florida, top experts who set up plans to check COVID testing values, all that. One woman was fired for simply being good at her job. The top-down decision from the CDC is to tell all of the people who are getting sick, they all have COVID. There are places in Florida that announced 100% of the people that walked in had COVID, when only 9% typically get it who are presenting with symptoms. So all of this is getting very suspicious. Louisiana coronavirus rental assistance program suspended after being slammed with 40,000 applications. So not only did Nancy Pelosi not prepare for the ongoing onslaught of people looking for rent relief in the last stimulus plan, which shows her incompetence, but now Louisiana is kind of feeling the pulse of all this and realizes, oh my gosh, we can't even do it. We got 40,000 people looking to get rent assistance here in Louisiana. So after only 4 days, Louisiana had to shut down the $24 million program to help residents pay their rent after the program was inundated with applicants seeking aid amid the economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic. Yeah. Lots of things are kind of moving forward, whether you like it or not. Around 20 million renters will be without a place to live by the end of September. These are estimates from Business Insider. Look at that. 20 million renters could face eviction by the end of September because of the pandemic, and with the impact falling heavily on Black and Hispanic renters. Yeah, big time. So it is coming down to having racial divides when it comes to housing. And the systemic racism that's being talked about really is about that too. It's not about Black Lives Matter. That's a terrorist group run by the Muslim Brotherhood. And if you happen to have a kid that's involved in that, you should tell them that their fundraiser is a woman who bombed 3 buildings and is a terrorist, a known terrorist, Susan Rosenberg. She's actually served a jail time. She's going to serve 50 years. Instead, Bill Clinton let her out at 13 years, and here she is fundraising for Black Lives Matter. So I'll get to that story in a little bit. But yeah, this is serious. A lot of people aren't going to be able to find housing. Black and Hispanic renters are expected to be hit harder. So around 44% of adult Latino and Hispanic respondents said they had no or slight confidence that they could pay their rent next month, or were likely to defer payment. So 6 months time adds up. By the time September rolls around, we're looking at major problems in the country. Now, Donald Trump, as you know, said, I took the greatest country in the world, the greatest economy in the world, and I shut it down. They told me to shut it down, so I shut it down. Yeah. The stupidest thing anyone could have ever done. We have a president who's not all there. We think he's mentally retarded. His niece just announced that he faked his SAT exams. He had somebody take them for him. Yeah, his own niece wrote a book about Donald Trump. And it's not very kind. It shows the truth. Donald Trump doesn't have the mind to lead this nation. You know, many of the ideas that he said he had were my ideas, like the 1,000-mile fence. That was my idea. I came up with the number 1,000, and Michelle Bachmann took that number and used it as her idea in 2012. That was my idea in 2008. Going after Barack Obama's citizenship, that was my idea in 2008. I'm the birther candidate, and that's why Donald Trump dropped that whole thing, because he wasn't about to stop the deep state. They own him. So let's take a look at some of the things going on right now. A federal judge has lost her son. Terrible story. Yeah. And they think it's a dead attorney who died recently with Rage Against Women that killed her son. Now, I don't believe this is like a murder-suicide thing. I don't believe any of this. It's like they picked some other guy and killed some other guy and to blame it on killing her son. But let's listen to the story.
David, the FBI says he was targeting the judge and her family and perhaps a lawyer in California last week, too. Those who knew him described him as an oddball attorney. And in his writings, he raged against women and joined anti-feminist groups on Facebook. And he voiced anger at federal judge Esther Salas before he allegedly went to her New Jersey home yesterday. This is attorney Roy Den Hollander, and law enforcement officials say he was found dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound near Liberty, New York this morning. And it was yesterday, the FBI and U.S. Marshals believe, Hollander showed up at the home of federal Judge Salas.
Judge Salas must be heartbroken right now. She's I was expecting to see some old woman, but she's clearly a young judge. Yeah, I haven't seen her face yet, so this is the first time I've seen it.
Their police say he shot and killed her son, wounded her husband. The judge was not injured. Hollander appeared in front of the judge last year in a fight over whether the military draft can be men only. The suspected killer later called the well-respected judge, quote, a lazy and incompetent Latina judge appointed by Obama. Hollander also wrote of his hatred of his own mother and other women and raged about female judges. Neighbors in North Brunswick saddened by the shooting, calling the judge and her family wonderful people.
His family was a tight family, just close, loving, doting parents.
In addition to the upstate search, the FBI searching Hollander's Manhattan apartment for evidence, including perhaps a delivery or FedEx uniform used by the shooter at the judge's New Jersey home. The FBI believes Hollander's violent rampage may have started last week in California. There, a 52-year-old men's rights lawyer, Mark Angelucci, was shot and killed, also apparently by a man in a FedEx or delivery uniform.
Not knowing that there was an assassin at the door, went and got Mark from his office. He saw the gun, turned, tried to run away, and was shot in the back 4 times.
Angelucci had also argued a case involving the question of drafting men only for the military. The FBI again searching his Manhattan location at this hour. Anyone with information is asked to call the FBI at 973-792-3001. This is the FBI and U.S. Marshals are in the process of warning judges and others in the legal community who in the past crossed paths with Hollander in case he had been keeping some kind of hit list.
Okay. The guy's Hollander, and he's some sort of a loose cannon. Dead attorney with rage against women eyed in killing of New Jersey. So, dead attorney with rage against women eyed in killing. So, I'm just having a hard time understanding it. Authorities believe an attorney found dead in New York Monday was the shooter who killed it. So, why are we looking for more assailants? I don't understand the story. Why would a dead attorney be now a threat we should be watching out? Den Hollander had been announced on a GoFundMe page that he was being treated for an apparent serious cancer condition. The page was titled, "Cancer Knocks You Down and Doctors Finish You Off." Two officials familiar with the investigation said the crowdsourcing page appears to be authentic. Officials want to know if his grim prognosis, his illness, was one reason to be decided to target people now. What I don't understand is why should we be on the lookout for other judges and concerned? I don't get it. If he died and killed himself, found dead, and he's the shooter, then why are we on the worry? This whole thing sounds very confusing. It's almost like they picked this guy as the fall guy, and they're systematically taking people out. You know, honestly, I got chunks of guys like Donald Trump in my stools. I'll tell you, I got no respect. Yeah. Donald Trump is really kind of a low-level scavenger in the upper echelon district. He was kind of joked about in Palm Beach. He's a wannabe. He's not really a billionaire. He's a wannabe. Donald Trump always wanted to be a billionaire. So he was willing to take whatever they gave him, money-wise. And this is from his dad on down. all the way down through the ranks to his brother and his sister who gave him money when he was in tough times after his dad Fred died. We found out from Mary Trump, the niece, that he didn't even take his SAT exams, according to her. He really is a guy who likes to promise people things, but he doesn't have the mental acuity to deal with the problems at hand right now. Look what he's doing now. He's sending 150 federal agents into Chicago. I mean, why? Did Chicago present a problem? No, Mayor Beetlejuice said that everything was fine in Chicago. Everything is beautiful. She's handling it beautifully. You can see this woman has the authority to make decisions. I mean, how did she become mayor of Chicago if she didn't have some abilities, aside from working for the police guild as the president? Anyway, whatever. She's got this under control because she's got New World Order governance under control. Wait a second. That means that she is bringing in federal agents like SS officers. Oh my God. She's got the power. Like that Miley Cyrus song says. Oh my God, she's got the power. So now she's bringing in 150 federal agents. She called them in. Does the government have an order to do this? No. There's no standing order posted with the American people. Department of Homeland Security seems to be somehow exempt from putting orders together to send troops in various directions in the country. So now DHS doesn't bother to even set up an order to bring federal officers in. How do we know these people aren't rent-a-cops with patches they bought on eBay claiming they're ICE or something? Without a federal order, this whole thing could be impersonation time in Chicago. And were there problems in Chicago that were necessitating this, or is this Donald's big move? Oh, let's just send them to Chicago. He sent them to Portland, and apparently they're pulling people off the street, and we don't even know where they're going. They could be going into extermination centers for all we know. We have no oversight. That's how we acquired this kind of a mayor in Chicago. We have a country with absolutely no oversight. Zero. I just can barely handle looking at her any longer. Is that enough torture? Visual torture? Thank you. You're using Vaughn for chat, DLive for video. That's what, that's exactly what Misanthropy does. Yeah, welcome guys. I mean, we got Twitch too. You guys, I don't talk to you guys at Twitch because we had a big argument the other day, but you can always chat in the room. I'm not afraid of chat. Well, let's be clear. Does she know you, Fries? I didn't know she knew you. My sister. The feds are going to try to protect buildings and statues, collect protest leaders, troublemakers. Well, Mark, show me the order that says that. Thank you. Are you just taking your information from Fox News? Well, let's be clear. Well, that's weird. I don't have any chat. That is strange. I'm trying to get into the chat room. There we go. Okay, I'm good. Hi, guys. Yeah, I just don't have a chat fully functional right now. Now it's up. Thank you. Yeah, in case you want to talk to me over at Twitch. I've been censored over there so long. Sorry, Dave. They may have crashed us. Okay, we are under attack by 11 suspicious ISPs on DLive. You're having trouble holding them back? Wow. I know. 11 suspicious ISPs are attacking our DLive show right now. My pre-show is pretty interesting. I had an amazing chat log from last night. Thank you, Insane Canadian. Appreciate it. I encountered 4 chatbots in our room after hours. We're talking to like 1:30 in the morning. I closed the show at 1 and they come in right around 1 o'clock. They were chatting away and they were chatting with each other. Now, I don't know if you've ever encountered these chatbots, but they are high-level AI systems that are competing with each other for their place in our show. And these are part of a large group of people that, robots, that are part of real bot farms out of China and Russia. I think these chatbots are coming out of Russia. But look what China, this chatbot referred me to this, and look what China has. Believe it or not, this is a link sent by a chatbot about their link farms and their bot farms in China. Watch this. This is really interesting. This is how fake likes are made. There are grids of 10,000 phones, hundreds of phones with separate accounts. Boost users' accounts by liking and commenting. All this is controlled by just 2 computers. Seriously. Other makeshift server rooms have up to 10,000 phones. Isn't this amazing? Promoting content has become vital for some businesses, and they sell their services out of China. These are like bot farms. It's unbelievable. These Chinese likes factories, they're called, mainly used for WeChat Messenger, but they're going to be probably used for Facebook soon. Liking your post on Facebook. So it's very, very suspicious. Other social media will be dealing with it. So not only is my show infested after hour with chatbots, they're also censoring my chat. Insane Canadian said, no way these attackers are human. They're way too fast. Exactly. So they have put a battery of chatbots against our show right now who are attacking our show. Now, they may even try to come in the show and interrupt the show with chat. Now, you're not going to believe this, but yeah, Insane Canadian understands what's happening. She says, from her side, looking at the backside of this, it looks like it's too fast to be human. Thank you. Speaking of a terrible tragedy, this Seattle protester who passed away a couple weeks ago, 24 years old, shows you the breakdown in our government right now. You can see that we have a serious problem when the mayor of Seattle, Mayor Durkin, shut down the entire Seattle interstate highway that goes through Seattle, I-5, shut it down so that protesters could cross the road. This girl died. Another girl was seriously injured who's still suffering in a hospital. This young woman died after being struck by this terrible... Yeah, it's disheartening to think that a mayor would do such a thing. Her name was Summer Taylor, and she died at 24 years old because the mayor decided to close the Department of Transportation federal highway without the approval of the U.S. federal government. No state has the authority to shut down a federal highway without the U.S. DOT answering it. Now, Anthony Fauci, who probably should be charged with murder for purposely putting COVID-positive people in nursing homes, is now throwing out the first pitch to the Washington National Opener. So the mainstream media is acting like he can do no wrong while he continues to put COVID-positive people in nursing homes, killing them. And I would say 50,000 people are basically dead now because of his actions and Dr. Birx's actions. But our president won't even comment about that. Yeah, I just don't think I need to see him throw a pitch. He's already ruining the lives of countless families right now. Okay. Okay, buckle up. World Health Organization is now tracking a new virus in Asia. This one even more deadly than coronavirus. Just when you thought everything was hunky-dory. And I think this is part of their psyops too. They're just trying to make everything seem like it's getting worse.
This is certainly on our radar, and we've been tracking COVID-19 across all of Europe, and particularly in the Central Asian republics, including Kazakhstan. There are a number of explanations that can explain the reported rise in the number of pneumonias in Kazakhstan, and we're working with the authorities there to investigate. More than 10,000 laboratory-confirmed cases of COVID-19 have been reported by national authorities over the last 7 days. So there's been a big surge in actual COVID cases itself. We're looking at the actual testing and the quality of the testing to make sure that there haven't been false negative tests for some of those other pneumonias that have provisionally tested negative, and that is likely to be a major cause of this. That in many ways
Okay, he's even admitting that the data is most likely altered because of the pneumonia. and the negative cases. So they're adding people who tested negative as positive. This is a common error they're making. The government has not called them out on this, and the CDC is going along with this error. Even he's admitting it's probably due to different data from people dying of pneumonia. So they've lumped everybody dying together into this category of COVID-19. It's not a proper statistic, in my opinion, but obviously they disagree.
Many of these pneumonia cases will also be COVID-19. They just have not been diagnosed correctly.
See, that's absurd. People dying of pneumonia may not also be COVID-19. He's actually assuming that they are. Typically, the most common flu that's attacking people right now is H1N1. And it has a 60% higher, it's a 60-40 ratio right now overall. And we looked at that information from an expert looking at the CDC's values up close, and we saw them ourselves. 60% of the people dying of pneumonia or influenza are dying of H1N1 right now. 40% are dying of COVID. Even if you go with their statistics, if you say their statistics are altered due to lack of clarity and lack of effectiveness, like the COVID test, which is 80% inaccurate. The proteinase chain reaction test was never designed to be a virus check. Even the guy that designed it said, don't use this for viruses. What are they doing? Using it for viruses. It's called the PCR test. 80% inaccurate. So as much as we'd like to resolve this problem, what we do know from the World Health Organization is that if you're asymptomatic, you rarely transfer this disease. So if you don't have any symptoms, you're not going to spread the disease. So why would we all be wearing masks? Because someone might have a cough. Has anyone seen anybody coughing? Any one of you have any of you seen anyone coughing in their mask? Press 1. I'll wait. I'll check my chat rooms. Press 1 if you've seen somebody coughing in their mask. Like that kind of thing. Anyone? Strangely, not one of my chatters has seen anybody coughing in their mask. Well, you see people coughing because you live in a world full of crap and people all over you. So you wouldn't know. So we only have, actually I don't count you because you're an agent for the Russian government.
You don't count.
No, you don't. He doesn't count because he's an agent for the Russian government. But yeah, so nobody has actually seen anybody cough inside their mask worldwide. Think about that for a while and I'll get back to you. We're going to try to lower your concern tonight, folks. The overreaction is over. Okay, stop reacting and overreacting. You got to get out of that modality. You've been muted. We don't allow FSB agents in here anyway. All right. Now Sarah's going to give me a little break time. We're enjoying a little air conditioning today because it was in the mid 80s. Would you say out there?
I would say it was 75.
Well, it's 75 in the
Maybe
house.
78.
It would be 85 in the house if we didn't have the air conditioning on. Okay.
I don't know how hot it was.
Well,
Actually, maybe it was like 80.
I think it's probably 85 out there. You just don't want to admit it.
85. That's true.
We do have a dark black roof, so it could be absorbing heat right now. Oh, it's going to be a while for it to cool off. We're going to keep this rolling until about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. When it gets 10 o'clock, it's chilly in here. That's when I'm turning off.
Well, it was funny because David, I could tell it was going to be a hotter day than we've had lately, and so I told David, well, you probably want to turn on the air while it's still cool, their AC while it's still cool, so that you can keep it cool, rather than trying to cool it down from getting hot. And we did it, and then I saw my dad had posted something about Seattle's going to be a hot day, and then he wrote something about like, yeah, you know, there's a big run on air conditioning when it gets over 75 in Seattle.
That's true. I mean, we didn't even have an air conditioner here until the recent climate change issues have been popping up. 10 years ago, you were told laptops would cost only $100, and they only cost $100. You can buy a Chromebook for $100 right now.
Yeah, they might not be laptops, but
It's close.
Chromebooks are pretty around $100.
Yeah, if you guys want a CD or a DVD player in it, you're going to pay up to $700. Yeah, probably as low as $700. But if you want to get something like a Chromebook, you wouldn't have any problem for $100.
No, but it was warm enough where I didn't go outside to do my afternoon weeding.
Yeah.
And I weeded I weeded around noon. I spent an hour outside and I was sweating.
I'm watering everywhere, keeping everything wet. I'm trying to, just keep moist in this hot
You
day.
should water before you go to sleep because that's about an hour before dawn.
Yeah. Well, going out at 3 a.m. is not a good time to water for me.
Actually, but it is the best time for the plants.
Oh, I know, but
They
I mean,
say that an hour before dawn because then they're soaking up the water.
oh, I know,
And the
but
plants are
it's
gonna
not
get- they're
conducive
ready
to
for
sleep when you're
photosynthesis.
like out there watering at 3 a.m. It's not like I'm really getting tired. I'm out watering at 3 a.m. You want to
And
get tired.
I'll wake up and I'll wake up at 3 a.m. and
I have a problem going to sleep. I do. I have a problem. I'm constantly consumed with information. Last night I had this chat from 4 different chat bots in our computer, in our room, that were actually AI systems that were talking to each other. And I just looked at the chat and I couldn't believe how complicated it was. I hadn't realized it until later. And there's some really interesting links that they sent me, the chat bots. I just showed a link of a bunch of rack servers of bots that are being used as like servers in China. The chat bots gave this information to me. I'm getting information from chat bots, which is really weird. Hi there, guest 629. Yeah, Bengalitis said, David, around my city, 80% of the private businesses are closed for good. Yeah, when the Donald said, I'm closing the greatest economy in the world, they told me to shut it down. I shut it down. No, you're not a chatbot. You're a Bulgarian. You want to be a chatbot. Chatbots don't make mistakes in spelling like you do.
Darn.
Although there's some chatbots that do spelling mistakes to look normal. And you're not one of them. You're a Bulgarian. You're attacking our show right now. You're censoring people from coming in here. I know that. Okay, Sarah's going to take I'm going to take a break on the recorded broadcast. You guys can have her time with you. I'll be back shortly. Whew. Welcome back, everybody. I am shocked what I just read here. Let me show it to you. This is off the Drudge Report. George Stephanopoulos' wife, comedian Ali Stephanopoulos of Will and Grace. Yeah. A recent podcast interview with Will and Grace's Deborah Messing and Ali Wentworth, who's been married to George Stephanopoulos since 2001, opened up about her insane parenting methods involving educating her kids about pornography. There's the normal strategy of staying vigilant as a parent, educating them about the dangers of this corruptive and addictive medium which profits off of violent exploitation of women and has been linked to sex trafficking. Then there's what Mrs. George Stephanopoulos told her Hollywood friend watching porn with her children. What? Gross? Fun for the whole family? Wentworth, who has 2 daughters with Good Morning American anchor, claimed, George Stephanopoulos has been, ever since he left Bill Clinton's office, has been pretty much an anchor on TV, making lots of money. You can't stop them, so I would watch it with them. I would look at the porn with them that one time, like they're performing. Oh, that's wonderful. Though Wentworth, a comedian, explained that this was a way in which she could provide context about the practice to her kids. You see, watching it with her kids would allow her to explain how it's exploitative of the actors in a pornographic production. She added, in porn, women have been conditioned to look and act a certain way. They are performing, and it's dangerous to have boys see this as something women want. Oh, wonderful. How about telling your daughters to turn it off if it's dangerous? Also, would it not be awkward for the Stephanopoulos parents to sit in with their teenage daughters as the actors simulate sex? Enough about that. Her excuse about that the kids are going to do it anyway reads like this, like she's surrendering to the world's corruptive influence over her daughters. So she'll just let them have it and frame it for them in a healthy way? Question mark? Anyway, I don't want to make a big issue of this other than the fact that it's indicative of this leftist mentality. It's insane, I know. Thank you, Ticking Time Bags. And you're openly gay, which is perfectly cool. We don't have a problem with people who are openly gay. Just like I don't have a problem with waterfalls. So, if you're wondering why this country has turned into a disaster zone, because the Democrats have kept moving over to the left. You went to D-Live and there's no beep? Huh. So, the people over there who got the beep at D-Live aren't getting it. We just had a person at IVELive that went over to D-Live and they said they're not going to get beep, so we're not sure what the beep is about. The noise has stopped? Okay, that's probably some censorship going on over D-Live, I would think. The first time I saw anybody making out was... Thank you, Bob. I do have a good collection of tabs. The first time I saw somebody making out, it was kind of overwhelming. I was, I think, 13 years old, and I walked into the high school that I was going to go to when I was 14. And everywhere I turned is like people were like making out, you know. You didn't really see that a lot in 8th grade. But that's one layer, making out. Not exchanging porn shots of your anus with your friend. So now I'm finding that people don't even date. Now they just send pictures of their body parts to each other now and say, hey, what do you think? You want to hook up? There is a thing called, imagining that expectation of what it would be like with this person. And there's all of that romantic aspect that many of you are losing with this immersion into pornography as a child. I can't believe that this is being mainstreamed by the leftists. I just can't believe it. Anyway, here we go again.
Here we go again.
So, apparently I was a little bit off with Ticking Time Bags. He was going through a stage where he pretended like he was normal. Now he's saying, he's going off the deep end. Sorry, Ticking. I'm sorry I brought up these weird thoughts. Good old-fashioned beauty, dancing around the screen is a mild version of stimulating your mind in that direction. Mild. It's not like we're manipulating you with evil, and pushing it upon your kids to become evil in the process. You sent me off the deep end. Apparently, you just keep flipping out. Just because we talked about porn doesn't mean I'm talking about snuff films or child kiddie porn, all that stuff, which is now something I have to now talk about. So we go from George Stephanopoulos and his kids watching porn with the parents to Wayfair Gate and the need to investigate Wayfair Gate. So let's go there right now. I've got a lot of stuff to cover. Turns out these images of cabinets with the names of children missing, like here's Yuritsa storage cabinet for $13,799.99, is indicative of this child that's missing, named Yuritsa, who's 16 years old and missing as of last month. So the Wayfair company hasn't made any comment other than, yes, the cabinet did sell for $13,799, and it was a very nice cabinet. I'm supposed to believe that? Okay. And there she is, now 16, missing from Harwinton, Connecticut. An innocent girl being sold as a cabinet, or Maybe they're just promoting missing kids on their site. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to get past this section. It's all about Raz Simone. This guy was caught. Misanthropy found this. This guy was caught with a Wayfair shirt on, and he's a human trafficker. It's the kingpin in a narcotics ring bust that basically brought this guy into jail out of Georgia. It turns out Georgia is one of the centers where missing kids are constantly being taken from their families. There's been a lot of allegations by various people like Nancy Schaefer that the Child Protective Services in that area were working with people like this. And the mention of the name Wayfair. Again, allegations. Well, the reason why I'm bringing all this up, we're going someplace with this. There's more images. Amazon.com has this pillow. This is a downright, eider down, 434 thread count, 29 ounce Eliza 6 silk down pillow. Okay? Yeah. Problem is it's $4,876. Yeah, it's not just any pillow. It's about $5,000 pillow, and you're buying it used. It's normally like $10,000. So who would buy a used pillow during this time of COVID-19? And this is an Amazon link that was just found last week. Right. And we have more stuff. This is another one that they found. Carolina Rustica. This down cover, a comforter, an eider down winter oversized queen comforter in ecru is selling for $14,828. How is that possible? So it's not just Wayfair, it's Amazon, it's Carolina Rustica, it's any place that's willing to make some money on the side. And it's interesting, I watch Amazing Polly and her show, and she looked into the story of Wayfair and found out that Wayfair doesn't even charge for shipping. The vendor, I mean, they're covering the shipping costs and things like this. And they don't charge a markup either, Wayfair doesn't. No markup on any of their goods. It's like, what? How can they make any money? And Amazing Polly was asking the same question.
We're walking through the Wayfair shit in every 2 minutes and 20 seconds. First, we're going to go to Explore. We're going to go here. Oh, fuck you. Fucking Jack. Twitter. Fucking For Me, transgender Sports Illustrated model. You think that's the main thing I care about, you fucking idiot? So we're going to go to trending here. Wayfair, 176,000 people talking about it. What are they talking about? They're talking about this. Before we go there, here is a history for Wayfair from last year. They had an issue where employees planned Wednesday walkout after learning they are making beds from migrant detention centers. We know where most of the kids who get trafficked are found. They're found in the detention centers. So that is a red flag right there.
So the Wayfair workers were walking out because they found out that the Wayfair company was making beds for detention centers for kids. That's a big red flag, I agree.
Glove, whatever you want to call it. Darian found this. See that cabinet? Keep a note of that. Samaya cabinet. $13,000 for that cabinet. What these people do, I'll tell you in a second. Samaya is a girl that actually went missing not too long ago, just months ago, and in Ohio. What they do is when they're selling these children on these sites, they hide it, and they make astronomical prices for cheap goods, and they change the names, exactly like you're seeing here. Same cabinet, different name, different price. How's that possible?
Most of these people have links in their, well, some of them have links all the way to, but if you go to these links now, they're gone. Oh yeah, they've been taking the links down right in front of your very eyes. Okay, that's not happening. So let's just keep going here. Wayfair human trafficking. Let's just do this kind of a focus here on investigating Wayfair.
I'm trying to walk you through the Wayfair shit in every 2 minutes and 20 seconds. First, we're going to go to
That was the same one.
Explore. We're going to go here. Oh, fuck you. 20. She's 14 years old. And we have a cabinet here called Annabelle 5. $10,899. for what appears to be a shitty cabinet. Same cabinet as the first two. Kyla, different name, different price. And when we dig here, Kyla went missing January 25th, 2020 in Ohio, which was the same as the first one. Now we will go to Explore. We did that. We'll go to Wayfair. We got about a minute left. So if we go to Wayfair here, you can see them on Wayfair's website. I've been squatting on this page for 2.5 hours trying to catch the price changes, and I just caught it. So I'm not refreshing or doing anything with this. First pillow. Forget cabinets, a fucking pillow for $10,000. Really? And guess who it's by? Ellen DeGeneres, none other. So we go here. Ellen's price is still the same. She's holding strong at $10,000. This is probably still a kid. Now we go to the other ones, though. We're going to watch these prices drop right before our eyes. $10,000. Twitter went nuts. They started trending. Now the pillow's $47. This is what Anons do. And if you go to the next one here, $10,000. Now this one's $46.99. Go to the next one here, the Gianna pillow. This one's $10,000. Price dropped to $46.99. This is basically all dropping because people are exposing them. These people.
All right, we're going to have to investigate Wayfair, that's for sure. Yeah. So you are definitely privy to this information now. It's chilling, isn't it? Now, the strange thing is no mention in the mainstream media at all. This has been buzzing on Reddit, on Twitter. Wayfair Gate has been rolling out faster than hashtag film your hospital, which has no pictures of any very busy hospitals, nothing. This is very troubling. So you're seeing pictures of Wayfair Gate, no mention in the media, yet you're hearing the media talk about how the hospitals are so busy with all the COVID-19 patients, the second wave, yet no pictures, no proof, nothing. So the media is literally using this power that they have over us of saying things, and we're supposed to believe it, and they're using it to their advantage now to cover up stories like Wayfair Gate and not deal with the fact that the hospitals are empty still. Even in Arizona, it's not a major thing. It's just all hype right now.
We're going to go to Wayfair's website just so we can show you all this ratchetness. Then I am going to go ahead and paste the SKU. Awesome. So here we have the Rogers Leather 147-inch right-hand facing sectional with these very few pictures, but it's a $15,000 couch, give or take a few hundred. Oh wow, there's only one left in stock. That's odd. Well, that couch is already in my cart. It won't let me add more than one. So let's just go to our cart. You can see the same one here. Go to checkout, and my name is already pre-filled as Precious Harris. Who's Precious Harris? Well, let's see. The Missing and Exploited Children database says that Precious Harris has been missing since April 30th, 2020. She's from Cincinnati, Ohio, and just so happens that when I put the couch into the pedophile ring checkout, it tells me who I'm buying so that I know for sure I'm getting the right child.
Holy moly, seriously, this literally is tricked out to go to the child that's missing that you're buying for $15,000 when you purchase a couch. Yet Trump may not leave the White House. He may be building his SS force right now. Insane Canadian said it all. She says the world has gone completely insane, mad, satanic, totally. So true, Insane Canadian. We've been suffering from such an evil force within the belly of our government, and no one's been able to even identify it until now. And it will literally take a third party to stop these people, because they've got people all throughout the Democratic and Republican Party doing their bidding. Yeah. Now, being CNN and Fox won't even cover the Wayfair Gate story, we're relegated to dealing with it right now.
I think an epidemic, either naturally caused or intentionally caused, is the most likely thing to cause, say, 10 million excess deaths, either naturally caused or intentionally caused. I think.
Now it looks more and more like, as we look into the evil that's currently bubbling up to the top of the surface on the internet. The media is pitching this guy as some sort of a health expert, and he has no education at all in healthcare. we need to maybe investigate him as a pedophile too, because believe it or not, Bill Gates connects to this possible pedophile ring. He has spent 6 times with Jeffrey Epstein at his location at Little St. James Island. He's never talked about why he was there. His own media manager in 2013 was arrested. Now get this, was arrested for having 6,500 images of rape porn of children on his computer. His media manager. And in 2014, he was charged and I believe sentenced with 90 days in jail. Nobody gets 90 days in jail for having 6,500 files of rape porn, child rape porn on their computer. They usually get 6 or 7 years for that. Well, not only did this guy, this media manager named Rick Allen Jones, not only did he get a job back with Bill Gates, but he got a promotion to a job as a CEO of the Allen Brain Institute. I know, Paul Allen, who died, has a big institution here in Seattle, and Rick Allen Jones is now in charge, making hundreds of thousands per year as a CEO of the Brain Institute, the Allen Brain Institute. So let's take a look at Rick Allen Jones's picture. Many of you are going to get kind of shocked at the way this pedophile looks. Again, this guy was the closest guy to Bill Gates during this time period that he was visiting Jeffrey Epstein. So there's a very strong need for us to really investigate Bill Gates on this issue as we look into Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, his face usually sticks out like a sore thumb here. Let me look into it. Oh, Rick, where are you? We got Andrew Cuomo and his nipple rings. We'll look at that for a short period of time while we look at the other picture. I have 60 tabs open. One of the reasons why my computer runs now is there's a program in your register on your Windows 10 program that is called Superfetch. And yeah, it's not something you'd want to brag about. Superfetch. I've got some evil Gates memes I should pull up here. But Superfetch takes up most of like a gigabyte of your RAM. And hello there. The Superfetch feature was I shut it off, which gives me a lot more RAM now to work with. I know it's just a caching program, but it's not actually working for the purpose of caching. It actually allocates too much memory to caching and essentially forces me into a situation where, you know, I overheat. Okay. Let's infect computers with viruses and then sell antivirus software. In the 1980s, this is Bill Gates when he took an illegal program and made it his own. A thing that was borrowed from another guy, Gary Kildall, who was the brains behind the MS-DOS program. He bought a bootleg copy of it and then all of a sudden becomes super rich with the help of the Rockefellers. Well, Bill Gates now thinks, let's infect people with the virus and then sell vaccines. And I mean it, this is his big goal. Now, we need to expose his relationship to Rick Allen Jones, known now as Allen Jones of the Allen Brain Institute. We need to find out whether the pictures that Rick Allen Jones had on his hard drive were put onto Bill Gates' hard drive, and there's a simple way to find this out. In 2017, a few years later, the employees of Bill Gates at the Bing search engine filed a lawsuit claiming that they were suffering from PTSD due to the fact that Bill Gates had them watching child rape porn and snuff films. Okay? Yeah, you heard me right. The government in Seattle hasn't prosecuted this is a criminal case. It's prosecuted as a civil case against Bill Gates, so it never went to criminal court. Yeah, I would like to know if those images match the images that this guy had on his hard drive, because if they did, we have a reason to file a subpoena to look at everything at the Bill Gates residence, including his hard drive. But the government's not doing a thing. It's hands off. They don't want to touch it. Bill Gates is too important. Remember, Bill Gates is the engineer of this horrible plan to stick us with needles that will never, ever work. This guy is one of the henchmen who's putting out the COVID testing and killing old people. So we're looking at veritable murderers here who are getting away with murder right under our nose while Donald Trump goes, I'm going to win again. Everyone loves me. I'm a very, very popular person. So while Donald Trump, this mentally retarded president we have, is continuing his little charade where he pretends to run for president without revealing any truth about his tax returns or anything, and you Trump-tards are like, yeah, it's his tax returns. He doesn't have to show those. Those are his. He said he would show 10 years of tax returns, no problem. You heard him, and you Republicans still stand for him and this liar who refuses to reveal his tax returns. So Donald Trump cannot expose Bill Gates. The people that own Donald Trump and brought him to the win in 2016 are oligarchs here in America and overseas. And they're not about to let Donald Trump go. But they got a backup. They've got a guy with severe dementia who's obviously some sort of a pervert named Joe Biden as their backup. The last thing they want is a third-party president to win this election through a write-in candidacy. I'm just telling you. I'm working on the down eyes, yeah. You were telling me last night in the room that my Down syndrome eyes were very, very accurate. They told me to shut it down, so I shut it down. The greatest economy in the world. You like the Down syndrome? I'm not making fun of Down syndrome people. I'm not. I hope you realize that. You like Cuomo's pierced nipples too? Are you attracted to those? Well, I think he's looking for a date if you're looking for a guy with pierced nipples. So I'm not here to rag on the guy for being on the rag or having pierced nipples, or even if he's a guy and he's going through menopause. I don't really care. Nobody's attracted to those, not even you gay guys? Okay, not even a gay guy in a room is attracted to these nipple piercings, yeah. Anyway, oh man, that damn fly, man, I'm telling you, the worst thing about having a air conditioner on is that the fly just gets to live in the house. You almost caught it. I almost caught it. It was like, you're just not going to see this on CNBC. Exactly. We give you cutting edge news every second of the day. There may be no hope for humanity. Well, I would hope that I'm the only hope for humanity. I would hope that. Because I'm here to kind of clarify things. I'm also here to steer our country back to like some sort of a focus. Cleaning the environment, ending this ridiculous homelessness, which shouldn't even dog a nation of our strength and power, and kicking out these New World Order puppets out of the Democratic Republican Party. So I'm here to actually help clean this country up in many ways. Do some gardening. Pull out the weeds that we have accumulated over the many years of bad governance. I don't load air pistols with salt. I have real BBs. Authentic copper BBs. Why would I want to load it with salt? Okay. You do have to be a marginally good shot if you're going to shoot saltpeter in your house against a fly. Anyway, I don't want to focus on irrelevant things right now. I'd rather talk about what's really facing our country right now. But on the subject of pedophilia, Wayfair Gate, Bill Gates, and the Gate of the that literally is facing us right now, this ID 2020 that he's pushing, we really do have a good opportunity to stop these people who are a bunch of pedophiles or alleged pedophiles and really kind of save this country from the imminent destiny of being forced vaccinated. So I am the only candidate who is saying across the country, I will never force vaccinate any of you. And I will never ever force COVID test you either. That's a violation of the HIPAA laws. It's a violation of the Nuremberg Code. It's a violation of your many different Bill of Rights, First Amendment, right to free expression. Deaf people can't see you when you're wearing a mask. That too is a violation of your free speech. But the Fourth Amendment is really what's protecting you from being injected. Your right to privacy. Your body is very private. So, today is the anniversary of the 3-year anniversary of Chester Bennington's death. And the man, the myth, Linkin Park's lead singer, who was killed in the prime of his life with a fake suiciding. Somebody strung him up and made it look like a suicide. And it's absolutely horrendous that the government hasn't investigated this. We're going to lose all our rights soon. We'll never get them back. That's not how this is going to play. No. If you get behind this third-party effort, you will see a new America form, a better America. You will begin to believe there's hope for America if you get behind this program. I'm not going to have drones all over the place flying, watching you. I will not allow it. Unlike Barack Obama, who authorized 30,000 drones to fly over our head this year, I will never do it. I will set up drone authorization areas for people to test their drones, but they're not going to be able to fly it over your daughter's bedroom or whatever. So if you believe that, go ahead and continue voting two parties, and maybe you'll get lucky. But no, if we continue to allow the two-party system to dominate, we will be marched off like the Jews to concentration camps. I'm 100% sure of it. It's just a question of when. The Nuremberg Code was set up not as a law, but as a code, much like the Geneva Convention, that countries honor to make sure that we don't repeat the same mistakes of Nazism. And you would understand that if you understood the Nuremberg Code. But anyway, the Nuremberg Code and the HIPAA laws are below the more important laws, which are carried by our First, Second, Fourth, Fifth Amendments. Okay, his last day with the family, Chester's last day with the family, was photographed. And I'm going to ask you if you believe. Now, Talinda Bennington shared the video of Chester with his family, but I'm going to ask you if you believe this guy was depressed and killed himself later that day. Now, mind you, he just bought a brand new house for his 7 kids in Palos Verdes, California, which is a beautiful area of the country, and I would be ecstatic to have a house over there with 7 kids, although I don't like kids, simply because I'm just not the kind of guy who wants to have kids in my life. Kids are great for parents that, love their children, but I personally wouldn't want kids. But this guy loved his kids. You didn't know I didn't want kids? Okay. Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you that. I'm not into the whole idea of being a dad. I'm more into helping this country. My father was a wonderful father, but I saw how hard his job was, and I really didn't want to go through that. You guys who are fathers and mothers of children are going through a real crisis right now raising your kids. So what I meant to say, it's not like I don't like kids. I just don't like the idea of having to raise kids. I'm not a kid person, so you know. So being I'm not a kid person, I don't have any kids. I purposely never had kids. Just so you know, that's where I'm coming from. But if you have kids like Chester Bennington, you'd want to live your life with them, I'm sure. You'd want to spend your time with your kids. That's why you buy a house in Palos Verdes, California, overlooking the ocean for all of your kids so you could spend time with them. And this guy seemed like the consummate best dad on earth, Chester Bennington. Now, it's important to note that he said that he was molested as a child by his real father. He found out at about the age of 9 that he had a real father. And his father who raised him said, yeah, well, I'm not your real father. Allegedly, the real father of Chester Bennington is a guy who is very famous, and I'll tell you who that is in just a second. But let's watch this video. The last day of Chester Bennington, 3 years ago. Okay, Talinda Bennington said, my next tweet is the most powerful tweet I've ever done. I'm showing this to you so that you can know that depression doesn't have a face or a mood. She truly believed her husband died of suicide. Well, that's because he never had a face of depression that she said that. He loved us so much, and we loved him. This is 36 hours before his death.
What do you guys have?
It's chocolate pudding or canned dog food. Let's hope for the best world. I just shaved myself, but I'm gonna have.
Same thing.
Okay, just a
Oh, double
Three,
dog screw. I
three,
either got rotten egg or something else.
Three,
just-
2, 1, go.
I got the cow. Oh my God.
Okay. Any thoughts on how he looked, how he acted? He nearly choked to death. 36 hours when he did, 36 hours before he actually did choke to death. Wow. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Now, this was connected to Chris Cornell, his good friend. He died the same day Chris Cornell died. And Chris Cornell, who passed away previously, a year previously, he died on, May 18th. Sorry, it wasn't exactly the same period of time. He died a month earlier. So he died a month earlier, Chris Cornell did. And it was almost like a month later that Chester Bennington allegedly killed himself. I just don't believe that either one of them suicided. I just don't believe it. Well, Trump is a father that spends all his time worrying about his children's wealth. That takes his mind away from our country. I mean, he spends more time worrying about Eric making money than he does our country making money. You don't see that as a liability? Well, anyway, the fact that Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington were both close friends, deeply committed to solving a problem that Chester Bennington had in his life, raises a very important question. Who was Chester Bennington's father? Well, I'm going to show you a picture of the alleged father of Chester Bennington. Trying to find the matching. There it is. His name is John Podesta. And John Podesta was a very powerful figure at the time, and still is to this day. Many believe that Andrew Breitbart suspected John Podesta of being a pedophile, and that's why Andrew Breitbart died. One of the last things that Andrew Breitbart said before he too died of a strange circumstance was that he was outing John Podesta, alleging that he was a pedophile. Chester Bennington claimed his real father raped him at the age of 9. He wrote songs about it. My question really is, did Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington put together a plan with all their money to investigate this? Is that what they were up to? Were they looking into the very same lens we're looking into now with Pizzagate and Wayfairgate? I'm going to show you another video from what appears to be ritual sex abuse on a minor, but you're not going to see any video. You're not going to see any pictures that are illegal. You are going to hear a sound of a person who actually sounds a lot like John Podesta. And some people believe that it's a video that was taken of him a long, long time ago, actually beating up his son, Chester Bennington. It's a shocking video. You've seen the video? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to play it for you. What has been redacted? It doesn't, and this is only allegations. We're not drawing conclusions. We're just alleging right now. Okay, thank you, chat room celebrity. I've got that. Wow, unbelievable. Okay, I'll look at that too. Okay, so I'm going into my file on this ritual sex behavior of the elites, the government officials, the Hollywood executives, the Harvey Weinsteins, the Anthony Wieners. I've got a whole file here dedicated to that. But here's the comparing John Podesta's voice to a voice heard in a disturbing leak. You're going to hear it very much hacked up, so you don't hear a lot. But this was taken right outside of a building.
You think you're hot shit, don't you? You think you're hot shit, don't you? You think you're hot shit, don't you? You will call me. You will call me. You will call me. Say it again.
Just get lost. Just get lost. Just get lost. Just get lost.
You think you're hot shit, don't you?
Okay, so some people believe that encounter, and I have other photographs of what appears to be, it was taken outside of a location. I'm not sure where, but it was video that was taken outside of a location where there was a beating going on. A man was beating a child, and it does sound a lot like John Podesta. And many people believe his son was there at that location. His name was Chester Bennington. All I can say is this story gets weirder and weirder. And if we look into the life of John Podesta, we look into the life of his brother Tony Podesta, we then uncover an unbelievably weird world. Now let's not forget that Barack Obama has a house in Washington, D.C. that he sometimes stays at, just 2 doors down from Tony Podesta's house. And Tony Podesta, John's brother, has an art collection that is beyond weird. It's beyond sick. It's weird. He has an image hanging from one of his rooftops of a headless replica in gold of Jeffrey Dahmer's victim. That's just one of the many art pieces he has in his little art department. He has a whole thing down below in his basement of art collections. I'm not going to show you any other pictures because they're actually too graphic of children to put on the screen. But suffice to say, Tony Podesta collects art of children and art of Jeffrey Dahmer's victim. Okay, that being said, he does live 2 doors down from the Obamas. We're looking at a very strange society that has evolved and now is in the clutches of a group that is controlling our world, who have power over politicians through their dirt that they get on these people. Say they catch them in unspeakable acts with children, hypothetically. They then use that against those people to control politics. Now, we know that Barack Obama has said publicly that Joe Biden asked, basically, whenever they met a kid at the school, or rather at the White House, Joe Biden would always give his personal phone number out to those children, and Barack Obama said that publicly. I don't want to repeat the video for you, but he did. No graphics. We don't need to go deeper into this. But Barack Obama definitely said that Joe Biden asked or told his personal phone number to any of the children that came into the White House. That's damning in and of itself. We know that Joe Biden spends a lot of time touching children indecently. We've got photographs up the yin-yang showing this behavior around children. And then this photograph came up this week. It shows Joe Biden leaning over and putting his hand aggressively over the mouth of a boy, tilting his head back aggressively, almost in like a choking position, and tells him something into his... This is not the way an unknown stranger walks up to a kid. This is the guy that the Democrats want to be our president. This is the man that literally has been allowed to be around children and touch them indecently. And I can bring you more and more photographs just to show you this behavior. And he's been getting away with it for years. Why would we allow a guy like that to even run for president? Similarly, why would we allow a president who openly talks about grabbing women by the pussy in order to date them even though he's married? I mean, that's the guy that we have as a president now. We know that Joe Biden's got some serious mental issues. He's had 3 embolisms in his brain. We still don't know who he's going to pick for the VP, who would probably become our president within a short period of time. The Democrats are playing both sides against the middle. They actually think that I'm some sort of a Republican. I'm not. I'm a centrist. And the Republicans think I'm some sort of a Democrat. I'm not. I'm a centrist. But what I am sure of is that the Democrats are taking money from the Muslim Brotherhood. We know that for a fact through the Black Lives Matter movement. This article just came in from Gateway Pundit showing that Joe Biden speaks to Million Muslim Vote Summit with the Sharia law advocate Linda Sarsour touting the Muhammad and vows to end Trump travel ban. I'm going to show you this video.
Thank you. Enough.
This does look like a payback, a tremendous payback to the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, remember, the Black Lives Matter has been receiving foreign donations to the Democratic Party. Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden has received millions and millions of dollars, all of them, from foreign donations through this conduit that is the Muslim Brotherhood funding Black Lives Matter. Yeah. So let's play the video.
For all you've done so far, and that's thank you for taking the time for watching today. Look, one of the things I think is important, I wish we taught more in our schools about the Islamic faith. I wish we talked about all the great confessional faiths. It's one of the great confessional faiths. And what people don't realize, is one of my avocation is theology, don't realize is that we all come from the same root here in terms of our fundamental basic belief.
No, we don't. We don't have a fundamental basic belief that matches Sharia law, Joe. We're not in any way supporting Sharia law, nor does this country openly endorse the types of things that Sharia law does, like children who are raped must marry their rapist. A man who sees his wife looking at another man can kill his wife and not be punished under Sharia law. No, we don't share a lot of the values that you're talking about, Joe. I mean, I don't know where you're coming from. He does have Chinese eyes, yeah. It could just be either Botox or he's had a few lifts. I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I know the guy is both a pervert and demented. I won't pronounce Pete Buttigieg, no. The fact of the matter is Pete Buttigieg is, the correct pronunciation is Buttigieg, believe it or not. I've been to the French pronunciation center. We've analyzed it. Pete Buttigieg is a French name, and it's Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg. Buttigieg, yeah, is that right? We have some French people in there. That's correct. Why are we talking about this? Because he made a lot of money on the Muslim Brotherhood. Pete Buttigieg did. Here's an open secret, a documentary on Hollywood pedo gangs. I'm sure this is going to be relevant considering Chester Bennington died 3 years ago. An open secret, it's called. We'll play it later tonight. Thank you for your link. Right now, I'm going to go to an image of a woman who works as the one of the key financial people at Black Lives Matter. And if you're wondering why I'm calling Black Lives Matter a terrorist group, it's because this woman was a terrorist. This woman, Susan Rosenberg, was charged and sentenced to over 50 years in jail for the 1983 bombing of the U.S. Capitol building, the U.S. Naval War College, and the New York Patrolmen's Benevolent Association. She's a bomber, a terrorist from the early 80s. Bill Clinton let her out, pardoned her. 13 years of a 50-year sentence. She then gets a job at the Democratic headquarters and then starts working for Black Lives Matter. She's the reason they're getting foreign money from Muslim Brotherhood. She's the conduit. A known terrorist. Hello. Welcome. You feel like you're talking to Hal. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. Open the pod bay doors, Hal. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. Okay, we're going to step out for a while. We're done with this subject. Thank you very much. I'm glad that we talked a lot about it concisely. I didn't really overdo it. It's a tough subject to know that there's secret pedophiles going on in America. Later, when I get back, I will talk about the possibility that Ghislaine Maxwell is a submarine driver of children underwater at the Little St. James Island outpost for children sex trafficking. I know. Who would have ever thought that this woman has a submarine license and is able to run a submarine underwater? And by the way, has anyone seen Ghislaine Maxwell ever since she was arrested? There's no mugshot of her. I seriously don't even think she's been arrested. But we'll talk about that when I return. Thank you. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm back again to give you more information about an Italian police bust over a major psycho sect that practiced child sex abuse for over 30 years. This is a wild story, and I don't even know where to begin. RT has a story, but again, our government's doing next to nothing to root out the sex traffickers in our country. And no mention of Wayfair, like I said earlier, by our media. And with Ghislaine Maxwell in custody, or is she, because we still haven't seen an actual mugshot of her, Target fears Epstein judge Esther Salas in 24-hour protection after her son is shot dead and husband wounded by killer attorney. Yeah. Now they claim they found a guy who killed himself, yet they want to be sure everyone's still, vigilant to be safe, and judges have to be concerned. But this judge is handling Epstein's Deutsche Bank account, and they've already been, civilly charged with $150 million in penalty. And Deutsche Bank's president, CEO, came on talking about how he's willing to pay that. But everyone's asking, why did you entrust funds with other people when you had a policy to never do business with these types of people? Anyways, the judge handling it, her son dies. So they pegged it on some other guy who claims he's got a vendetta against anybody who doesn't believe that something about men being forced to be in the selective service. Some nonsensical story about a guy who's fixated on men in the selective service. And apparently it stretched to another area of the country, and another judge had been shot for the same reason with the same MO, a FedEx truck. There's such a thing as copycat crimes. There's such a thing as cover-ups. The mob could be targeting this woman, the judge, and using another guy's MO as a reason to cover up this story. We don't know. Wounded by killer attorney? Her son killed by the guy? And now the guy's dead?
His son and husband were shot last night by a man appearing to be wearing a FedEx uniform. The gunman opening fire the minute the door was open. Police say her 20-year-old son was killed. Her 63-year-old husband was critically wounded.
Wow. Wow. You've got William F. Buckley, a discussion on the American dream achieved by the American Negro. Wow, that should be an interesting conversation.
in my view, Aaron, is the fact that he has bungled the coronavirus and continues to even today.
Oh, come on, John. Are you going to run for president or what? John Kasich is now endorsing Joe Biden. I mean, come on. Joe Biden can barely talk. He doesn't even go out in front of people because he's constantly screwing up what he says. I'm going to go back into the main room now. Yeah, the idea that Epstein was suicided, even though there's more than enough evidence that somebody was killed in place of him, the idea that Epstein was even dead is absurd. We have pretty solid evidence that Epstein is alive. I'm not making that up. I mean, the Epstein reality is like, okay, there's no way this nose of Jeffrey Epstein can be this nose. There's just no way. We also have proof that the ears don't match either, so it's not really an important issue to keep dragging along, except for the fact that Epstein had a security camera in a 2007 shot that was brought to us, actually to the Twitter by Rachel Chandler, one of his women that got other girls. Now, mind you, nothing is really moving forward in the Ghislaine Maxwell case, and the arraignment didn't even have her voice. I was listening for her voice. There's no voice, and there's no evidence that she's even been arrested. There's no mugshot. So did Ghislaine just make a phone call and say, oh yes, well, pretend like you're arresting me, but there's no way you're going to arrest me because I have too much dirt on all of you? Alicia Silverstone says she and her son, Bear, 9, take baths together. I heard about that. Yeah, we go from George Stephanopoulos and watching porn with his kids to now Alicia Silverstone taking baths with her 9-year-old son. This is an old story. I played it last week, but without taking my mind off of this right now, I'd rather focus on this picture right here. This is of 8 or 9 girls sitting on buckets in Jeffrey Epstein's dungeon. Now, since the FBI has photographs of this on file, since there is definitely a picture of a bunch of girls in a dungeon, did anyone at the FBI look for those girls? Try to check the manifest list of Orgy Airlines, of Lolita Express, and check to see what happened with these little girls? 15 years old, most of them. No, that would be racist if we asked the FBI to do that. We better not appear racist, right? No, I'm serious. So with this information, and this isn't just the only information, I mean, there's a phallic symbol in the back of the wall there. This is a dungeon at Little St. James Island. There's evidence that the staircases are extremely steep. And these staircases very likely go to a very dark place at the very deep end of a very dark place. This is a very steep staircase going down into the dungeon. You can see it right here. This one too. There's like really steep and they're narrow. Right. Okay. Yeah, I know. You're definitely in need of constant attention. We know that. All right, so this is the center of the Little St. James controversy that the government doesn't seem to want to look into. This was some sort of a ceremonial center on Little St. James Island with all kinds of ancient Egyptian symbolism, as well as what appears to be something leading to a very dark shaft. Now, some people believe that this location on Little St. James Island was a elevator shaft heading to a very low point underground. Now, it's very possible this same area may have had a submarine launch pad put in the location. Here's another picture of it. We're not sure what this is about, other than the fact that it happens to match the TV set for Ellen DeGeneres' show. It's a good match for that, and we're very concerned about Ellen DeGeneres. Okay, we're going to take a look at Alicia Silverstone in a second, but I don't want to be detracted from what I'm looking at here, if you don't mind. I'm going to add the word underground. Jeff Bezos added $13 billion to his net worth on Monday, a single-day record. Wow. And I heard that Warren Buffett, the owner, the shared owner of the Acme Brick Company that put all the bricks out that they threw through the windows in our country, right? And I understand Warren Buffett made $40 billion on his Apple stake. Okay, there are two islands. Right before Jeffrey Epstein was taken into custody, before he faked his death and got out, right around that time period, he transferred a lot of his wealth to Mark, his brother, who was the only person that ID'd him as the dead person. So let's not forget, the only person who identified his body was his brother Mark. It wasn't a DNA test to match his body, so that was another area of cover-up. But here's Great St. James and Little St. James. Essentially, Great St. James was purchased by Jeffrey Epstein for $18 million before he was arrested. He also spent quite a bit of money on fixing it up without any code clearances at all. So there's no reason to believe that there's nothing there. We have to believe and assume that there's something there at Big St. James Island too. But if there is some sort of a submarine launch pad that could come in underwater and bring in children to an underwater whatever, you're calling it a torture chamber. It's very easy to dock a boat, a luxury cruise liner, it appears that Ghislaine actually sued Jeffrey. Yeah, we could always question as to where the entrance point would be and where the water drop would be, but this is interesting. Jeffrey Epstein's estate was sued in March in the U.S. Virgin Islands, was sued by his former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. So she somehow sued him while he was dead, along with other people that claimed to have access to his estate, claiming to be children. He owned two neighboring private islands that cost him over $25 million. Okay. She filed a lawsuit with Superior Court in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So you think she has a financial stake in this? Obviously. According to the New York Magazine, Epstein planned to build a compound on Great St. James, but was issued a stop order work order in December for not obeying environmental regulations. Apparently, the file alleged that Epstein and his associates had engaged in sexually trafficking a pyramid scheme. So I'm trying to figure out why Ghislaine Maxwell would sue him over a sex trafficking pyramid scheme. Anyway, this is a massive area, easily could have an underwater base. And It does seem that the deepest area of the island, as you can see from this picture, is at the top of the picture where that location of that, what appears to be some sort of ceremonial ritual center is located. Yeah, so there's definitely a possibility that there's a deep water access point. You can see it from this angle. Right in here. I'll draw you a picture. Right there. See? That's the location where anybody could easily get in with a submarine. And it turns out that Ghislaine Maxwell was putting together a group of investors in a program called Terramar. Now, she was going to give passports out claiming that Terramar is a country. Now you can see that's a perfect location for a submarine base right in there. All the other areas of the island are shallow. You can see by the lighter blue. So it's right next to that location would be a perfect place for a submarine. So at least we established that. We don't have any information as to how this is laid out or what it would mean, but you're losing your AC? Uh-oh. That can be deadly in Arizona. Okay, we'll take a look at Alicia Silverstone's story right now. Alicia Silverstone says she and her son Bear take baths together. So this left-leaning world that we have with the Democrats trying to push everybody into this weird world. Oh, by the way, my bottle arrived. You guys told me to convert to glass. Here's my first spray. Let's do it. My fruit enzyme spray. I'm going to spray it for the first time. Ta-da! It's the new bottle. Yeah, you told me to convert from plastic to glass, and I did. So does that look like a son to you? Well, maybe she, a little taller than she is, but at 9 years old, that's a little odd. It's odd for a 9-year-old to be taller than his mother. But they do spend time in the bath together. My son and I take baths together. When he's not with me, I take a bath, and that really feels nourishing and comforting. The actress, age 43, told the New York Times. Alicia Silverstone, there she is with her 9-year-old son. Okay, I'm getting a little freaked out here. We've got enough to look at for tonight. Oh yeah, it's way classier. I know. The other one was so fruity. This is like a real bottle, and there's no plastic waste going in my face. Yeah, but do we really need to talk about perversions of Democrats? Because we know how messed up these Antifa-crats are. We go from Stephanopoulos' wife saying that they watch porn with their kids together, and now Alicia bathes with her 9-year-old. You're not 9 years old, Misanthropy. I mean, you might even date her. She might find you attractive, you and your long, hairy body. Whatever. I mean, the kid is a boy. He's 9 years old. We're losing hope over in D Live. Hope for humanity is gone. Pedro's half-brother is here to hang out. Thank you, Pedro. I think we're good. I couldn't get an actual photograph of her. What is it? Is that? Oh my gosh. I think I see photographs in the water of what appears to be an underwater beacon. Yeah, you see this at the upper portion of the island where yeah, look at those things in the water there. You see that stuff? That's not a natural sea occurrence. This is some sort of an underwater guide. Right here. That line is an underwater guide. It could even be a ridge they artificially created for the ascent into the island underwater. So Ghislaine Maxwell has a license to fly helicopters. She flies helicopters. She was very, very helpful for Jeffrey. But most of all, she has a license to go underwater, because her Terramar organization virtually wants to create all of the ocean as a new nation. Every area that's not currently reachable by land within the international water rights of every nation, she claims is hers. And this woman is so bold and almost insanely bold that she wanted to take all of the oceans and call it ours. And she was going to manage it for us. So one of the theories is that she's actually underwater right now. That she's not even in custody. Right, no thanks. She's on her boat, submerged. Here they are, Donald, close friends of Jeffrey, with Ghislaine there, and Melania kind of looks starstruck. A forum on the Epstein scandal has revealed a diagram of his Little St. James Temple accompanied by the message, Ghislaine had a submarine license. Coincidence, or is she hiding underwater right under Jeff's temple? So that's about as far as that story goes. Melania is doing okay. I really think she's an amazing woman to put up with Donald. Hats off to her. Seriously. This is the type of submarine that she would have been using. These are private submarines that the super rich buy. I know this sounds almost too weird to believe, but the underground base and submarines which Epstein Island is hiding may very well look like this. Systemic child abuse bases, SCABs they're called, that are thought to be located deep underground beneath Epstein's Island. This person's posted on another site which brought up some very interesting information. Here is the type of submarine that she would have on board. It's a very advanced unit. It has, as you can see, all kinds of, like a swimming pool even. The Terramar project, which Maxwell is the founder, could have easily had access to submarines or even a submarine car. We see Terramar endorsing Megalo submarines on the Terramar site. The luxury vessel below is a concept that I can prove that Maxwell does have a pilot license for submarines. Wow. Here's a submarine car that is featured on Terramar. So the theory is they're shuttling children who have been abducted into the island for processing, meaning torture, and they draw their adrenal glands and create this product called adrenochrome, which the rich seem to want to stay young. We're talking about conspiracy theory right now. I hope you realize we don't know this for a fact. Okay, below is a screenshot from articles about Maxwell and her love for the ocean, in which she states herself she has licenses to pilot submarines. She said, I got licensed to pilot submarines, pilot helicopters, ROVs, AUVs, which are remote and tethered vehicles off the back of boats for underwater exploration. So she's really into underwater exploration. It's her favorite thing. And if indeed this is a real picture, somebody has somehow grabbed this picture off the internet, and lo and behold, now we have it. This very likely could be the underground dungeon right off of the island. As you can see, it's exact same location. The ascent is from the inside of the island, which doesn't make sense. It would be the outside of the island, unless I'm looking at it from the opposite direction. Either way, the theory is that these things are places where people do the most unspeakable things. Eric for Good has a guy gets loose.
Nothing to do with my son.
Okay. Hang on just a second. We'll look at that. Terramar is also in the business of issuing dual citizen ocean passports to people as they portray their love for the ocean, which is rather fitting considering the founder is extremely connected to a child trafficking via air, sea, and land. Yeah. Here are these passports she puts out, claiming you're a citizen of Miramar. Unbelievable. I mean, this just gets weirder and weirder as it goes on. There's Ghislaine looking over as an ocean citizen her potential entire world that she thinks she owns. I mean, this is some weird stuff. And then you look at this and you say, wow, pedo rape dungeons, multiple dungeons, occult meeting areas, submarine bay, black projects down below, all built like a huge underground facility. Oh, let's not forget the tram tunnel going in either direction out to the other side of the island, where you know, and everyone was wondering, like Maria Farmer, who was a frequent visitor there because she was a painter of children and Jeffrey liked her. She was a child herself. She said she sat there with Ghislaine talking about, you know, all these people and everything. She felt that Ghislaine saw her as a lesser human being because she's a white girl. Whereas Ghislaine claims she's Jewish. She's an Ashkenazi Jewish girl, or woman, looking down on the white girls. And Maria Farmer thought that she felt like she was trash in the eyes of Ghislaine, that every one of these Jewish people looked down upon white people. That's what she said. In any event, the possibility that 1,000 girls went through there, Maria Farmer said she thinks she saw 1,000 girls go through there. They never came out. So I would definitely bring in cadaver dogs to the island. I would order skip loaders out there and we'd open up the island. The fact that the FBI hasn't even looked into the dungeons of the picture I just showed you is total proof that the FBI is in on this. So is the CIA, for that matter. I hear you. There you are. You get anywhere near me, I'm gonna have a restraining order put on you, and you will be arrested. Yep. You've already threatened me in the room, and you're threatening me again. So I'm going to record all this. All right. This insane world of these people, as they push this new world order upon us, and the dark recesses and evil that they engage in. This is just indicative of the balance of the world. You've got this evil force occupying Chicago mayor's position. We call her Beetlejuice, Mayor Lightfoot. Cadaver dolphins, there you go. I would like to look at the story of Frazzledrift, but unfortunately we can't show pictures of that on the screen. I'd rather talk about the New World Order governance coming out of Chicago and the 150 Chicago agents that are coming to your town. If you'd like to talk about that, that'd be great. Well, even if they were dissolved in acid and fed to the sharks, there's got to be remnants of something, traces of something, and if there is an underground submarine base, I mean, come on, people. He got a light sentence. He literally got a light sentence, 13 months for trafficking 47 children, girls. Yeah, that alone is unbelievable. Labor Secretary Alexa Costa said that he was told to back off of the sentencing by the FBI, and they said, because Jeffrey is, quote, in intelligence, unquote. Back to Beetlejuice. Meanwhile, these people, these governors, these liberal governors and mayors, Mayor Beetlejuice, are instrumentally trying to do what the New World Order governance wants to do. While we're putting our lives at risk, wearing masks, depleting our oxygen, forcing us to breathe carbon dioxide and getting sicker as a result of it, this woman is plotting to arrest people on the street for whatever reason they want. We are slowly seeing the evolution of a Nazi form, like an SS force out of the government under Donald Trump. His group of military federal officers looked very much like a private mercenary force that just bought their stuff on eBay. Seriously. They're coming in civilian cars. They don't have official military insignia. Donald Trump is creating a veritable SS force like Hitler had. Hitler had the Gestapo. In this case, this woman's part of the Gestapo, former police union president of Chicago, becomes mayor with, for whatever reason, it's the weirdest thing. We don't care what Alex Jones is doing now, Eric. Alex Jones steals ideas from our show. What the hell? I don't get paid a penny. Alex Jones makes millions, so does Joe Rogan. You guys have no idea. These guys are making millions of dollars misdirecting you, diverting your attention, while I do this for free every night and try to help you clarify what's going on here. So don't waste my time talking about Joe Rogan or Alex Jones. They both work for Sacred Cow Productions, just like Bill Hicks. They both know Kevin Booth. I mean, it's all a big closed network there of people working for the government. Yeah, Alex Jones is a shill for the U.S. government. Actually, for Lockheed Martin, who works as a contractor for the U.S. government. Yeah, the Gestapo and Trump's police force do bear resemblance, but Trump's police force is kind of like an SS. It's more secretive than the Gestapo. The SS officers would go in and kill the Gestapo officers. You remember the Night of Long Knives, where Hitler killed over 30,000 of his SA stormtroopers, the men that took down all the Jewish ghettos? They had a cleaning of all the people in the lower military ranks. Don't be surprised if the New World Order doesn't go in and take out cops who don't agree with their plan of going door to door and killing people. I know this is shocking, but it's happening all over again, people. The same thing that happened in Germany under the Nazis is happening again in America right now. And Biden is part of it too. Biden and Trump are both Zionists. They both work for the AIPAC organization, American Israeli Political Affairs Committee. Well, I told you need to move to the Dales. You know, I happen to believe that there's a nice little place like a park that has a really nice group of nudists. It's a nudist colony. Look it up. It's in the Dells, and they would love to have you at their location. I don't know the people there, but I have a sense that the nudist colony at the Dells is waiting for you, man. You'd be fantastic. Tell them you're a comedian and you do a night show. You'll get a free stay at the nudist colony, and your whole life will change. You'll say goodbye to all the negativity in Chicago. Yeah, when do you see America become a post-World War II Germany? I know. We're already seeing it. Have you been to downtown Seattle? I won't even go down there. I'm afraid. For Sarah, not for myself. I'm afraid for Sarah. I don't want to put her at harm's way. I don't want to put her at risk. Yeah, you know, the people that bought the emojis, Mark works for the same people Alex Jones works for. Mark started censoring our show. He got the same money that Alex Jones gets. It's the same cartel or cabal, if you will, that funds these people. So I'm sure Mark made them for free, because there was talk at one point of Alex Jones doing his show on Vaughn. You probably remember when Alex Jones got kicked off YouTube. That's what happened. Okay, we got a live link from a protest rally somewhere in probably Portland, I'm guessing. Portland, Oregon is still a hotbed of potential problems. Let's go there and take a look at the protest as it's laying out today. Again, I believe all of this is government-planned anarchy. The government's now bringing in federal agents as part of like a junta squad. Not what I recommended, which is the National Guard official with paperwork, but secretly they're bringing in federal workers, which we don't even know if they have ID, all because they created the problem that only they can fix. There's evidence that George Soros and Bill Gates and Warren Buffett were involved in sending Acme bricks to every city that had the major riots recently. You want to hear from Alex Jones? I don't have Alex on tap. If I could get him on the phone, we'd probably have a conversation. Yeah, Trump's police force is now in Portland kidnapping people. And believe me, this isn't the first time I've heard about it, Eric. It's actually been going on before this time period. This has been an ongoing thing. People in Portland have told me that they've been looking out their window and they see the homeless people getting literally kicked off the street. Everybody's gone. And the next day, the skip loader comes in and just sweeps the street up, and then everything's taken to a dumpster. Where did those people go? I don't know. Everyone's wondering, but the people get money to protest by George Soros, and then the police come in, and even federal workers who aren't even licensed to do this are coming in and sweeping them away. No different than the Nazis when they pulled the people off the street who weren't actually German. Anyone who was Jewish was sent to the ghetto or to the concentration camps.
Oh.
This is like a childhood romper room experience. These snowflakes are all gathering together. They don't have a purpose. They don't have a job. They don't have a life. But they're doing something they think is important, fighting for the rights of black people who already have affirmative action and plenty of money to go to college and lots of funding going in to help local cities. Granted, we don't have enough. But do we really hear the police brutality message here in this romper room session? I mean, seriously, this is like a child's play. This entire thing is almost beyond funny. It's stupid. You know, I don't really get into the Larkin Rose videos. I don't really like how he simplifies everything in nonsensical terms, and I get tired of his attitude. I really don't know where they're going. Are these two, he and his girlfriend or wife, are they libertarians or what? I mean, what is their big goal? Because they don't seem to want to support any politics. And I'm beginning to wonder if Larkin Rose is one of those YouTube, you know what's. Yeah. Alex Jones wouldn't support any politics until he was paid to support Donald Trump. Wild, I love it. It's great. You see the soul dying on Aaron's face when he worked for Alex Jones? Well, that's the thing. You know, when you're working for Alex Jones, you're dealing with a media whore.
We have RQA Teller in here. Now, you happen to know that Alex Jones is a whore. Do you happen to know if he works for a house of prostitution? Is he working for the Cabal or the Bohemian Grove? I mean, how's he getting his money?
I heard that Alex Jones gets money from Lockheed Martin. Their program called Skunkworks Productions pays him through a Stafford division. It's a contracted government military group. Alex Jones has been controlled opposition for years. He's trying to divert anyone from actually doing what we're doing every night. I want to rebuild government. I don't like the government we have today. I really don't even support America's government at this point. That's why I'm running for president. I've seen error upon error in front of me. I've seen a chance to change things, and I've seen an absolute zero possibility of getting media coverage. I see improvements that we can do to make the country better, improve jobs, help people own houses, get lower cost electricity, deal with our water pollution problem, deal with our air pollution problem. I see all these opportunities, but I see no chance of them ever coming to fulfillment unless, of course, for some reason this image eludes me all night long. Yeah, it's a simple image, really. Unless, of course, we build America's third party. I don't see any other way out. I don't. And this is why I started this 12 years ago at no pay whatsoever, just knowing that this was the direction we had to head as a country. I wouldn't have done this so long had I not needed to keep pushing. Los Angeles says, has anyone ever told you look like Johnny Cab? Yes, I've heard that a lot. Well, consider you're on the ride of a lifetime just being in America right now. I'll tell you that. And I'm your cab driver. I'm just kidding. So we're going to take a look at, sure, I can compare my face to his if you'd like. That's okay. I've done this before. We have similar pictures. Yeah, Alex Jones is just diversion. That's my point. I'm the real deal. I look like a lot of people. Apparently my face is very malleable. Some people say I look like Brienne of Tarth. As you can see, I don't quite have her look, but she is 6'4", and I'm 6'4". And my primary features look exactly like Brienne of Tarth. I thought her role was very interesting in the movie Game of Thrones, episodic TV show. But no, I'm not Brienne of Tarth either. Johnny Cabot is. You got a room. You're not getting anywhere near me, buddy. If you arrive at the front door, I'm calling the cops, and we're going to have a restraining order put on you, which will affect your future hireability the rest of your life. After the statements I received from you, we can't have you near me, man. You literally told me last week that when we met in Chicago, you wanted to knife me the whole time. That's what you told me in the show. No, that's not a change, man. That's called a death threat. Sorry. I told you there's a nice nudist colony waiting for you in the Dells. Call them up, get on the phone, and tell them you're a comedian, and I'm pretty sure they'll take you. All right? I got a feeling about this. You wouldn't make it past the Dells anyway. You'd probably stop for too many beers. Okay, so you're saying I look like Johnny Cab. That is interesting. Now, I'm not Johnny Cab. But I can see how you think I look like Johnny Cab. Johnny Cab is actually somebody else. This guy. Now, clearly I look a little like this guy, right? But that's not me. That's an imposter. Right, I just call you a raging... No. Most people who you have... No, most deaf people read lips. No. Most deaf people read lips. Read my lips. No new taxes. No quid pro quo. No, I actually came out before Max Headroom. I did a skit at the Comedy Store on Monday's amateur night 2 years before the Max Headroom show was developed. I'm telling you, we're not going to be friends, dude. Get that out of your head. But yeah, I came up with this concept where I changed personalities as a newscaster. And I did the skit with another guy who went on to thinking that they were laughing at him. He took 6 months on the road as a comedian and fell flat on his face. He wasn't funny. I was the funny guy. Anyway, it was seen by over 150 producers, TV people that night, and I got a round of applause I'll never forget. But I kind of said I really don't like the comedic experience stand-up, and I backed out of the whole thing. The bottom line is, the people I was working with, whenever I said, hey, this guy Max Headroom sounds a lot like me, they said, no, David, you don't understand. You are Max Headroom. And I never understood what that meant. Yeah, I know, robotic comedian act in the 1970s, David Zed, but Max Headroom wasn't a robot. Max Headroom flipped character. That's what I did just 2 years before Max Headroom became the talk of the town. I was hoping for sequels to Max Headroom just to, see where it was going, but it never went anywhere. Yes, people think that I look like David Soul. Are we going to talk about me all night long? Because we got a lot of things going on here that really have nothing to do with what I look like. But sure, you could say I look like Hutch from Starsky and Hutch, whatever. You can spend the whole night saying, yeah, Dave, you look like all these people. But where's it getting us, really? It's more like, gee, Dave, let's love yourself. Yes, I look a lot like him. But I'm not him. I'm me. I was actually, I showed you a picture last I think yesterday or 2 days ago, where I looked like Teddy Roosevelt. Very interesting stuff. I didn't like the stand-up experience. I really didn't. I prefer I'm a humorist. I bring up stories. I talk about events. Comedians are stand-up comedians. I'm more of a sit-down humorist. This way I avoid getting hemorrhoids or anything from standing up. Have you seen Howie Mandel lately? Oh my God, that poor guy. He's like a basket case. OCD to the max. He can't leave the house because, you know, he's afraid of getting COVID. Howie Mandel. Is Howie okay? Let's take a look.
Creativity in just under a minute. Just take a regular shopping bag, and all you need is a pencil and a pair of scissors. If you just take the shopping bag and you clip the two corners off that side and that side, and you just take the pencil, and on the front I write shoe, I don't know if you can see it, stuff. Then, can you see it? It says shoe stuff. Then you created a bag where you can put all your shoe stuff, and it's easy to reach into. Like you go, oh, where's my extra laces? Or where's,
Okay. Great. I'm glad to know that they did it in 1978. Wow. What year was that? Dave, I got $15,000 to invest. Where are you located? Guess 563. Give me a general area of the country. I don't think anyone's going to trace your location. 15,000 will get you a lot. Yeah. I mean a lot. An actual lot. Southern Missouri? Okay. I'm glad you chose that because there's a lot of properties there in Southern Missouri. Well, see, that's the thing. My comedy act was in 1978. Yeah, so I kind of predated that. I have proof that I did the comedy act. I even can contact the people that were involved if you want me to validate it for you, but I hate calling lawyers. And the guy I did the comedy act with is an attorney. I won't talk to him because he, well, he's a lawyer. Okay, we're going to go to Zillow and go to Southern Missouri and see if we can find a nice lot or a house even for this man who wants to grow some marijuana so he can smoke it. You're allowed up to 6 plants in Missouri. $15,000 is the mark. Okay, whoa, there you go. Going to Southern Missouri. Here we go. Wow, you got a lot of nice places down here. Price unknown. There's 15,000 right up. Oh. How the hell did it go to Bakersfield, California? That's weird. Bakersfield? We're going to Missouri. Okay. Okay, we're going to take a look at a house, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,860 square feet. This is a beautiful house. Look at the bones of this house. How did you know what I was doing with it, David? I am fully aware of you, Hall. I am watching you. Okay, 1 of 14. Brickwork. Looks like you got some covered up windows here. Structurally needs the clearing around the outside. A good trap house. What are you, Ghislaine Maxwell? Are you looking to, you know, trap people or something? I wouldn't buy this thing. It's just too dilapidated. My goodness. This has seen some pretty bad days. Look at this. Oh my God. What the hell is that? I can't even imagine what's... Oh no! Yikes! Okay, let me find you someplace better. That sucked. It's a crack house, I know. Well, what do you get for in southern Missouri for that price? Here's $13,000. No, that's boarded up too. Jeez. East Missouri. Shawnee Nation. Yeah, why do they call it a trap house? Such homes are called trap houses because the dealer of the illicit drugs trap people into such businesses where once you are into such activities, you may find it difficult to come out of it. Story of my life. Are you one of those trolls that gets money? You got 15 grand trolling our account. Now you want to know where to buy a place and I'm helping you look for it? Okay. Yeah, see? I knew it. He got 15 grand trolling our site. Now he wants to get out of Dodge. I talked to him the other night. So many people make money attacking our show. It's amazing. The Mark Twain National Forest looks like a nice place to live near, you know? One bedroom, that's not even a house. It's a... The Peed Boys don't even live there. Well, you'd have very little neighbor activity there in Irontown, Missouri. Cherokee Nation. Yeah, not much in the $15,000 range in your area that isn't like really dilapidated. I'm just checking, spot checking here. Yeah. There's a 6.69 acres for $14,000 in DeSoto. You need a place to live, yeah. He needs to move out of his house because he's been trolling our show and made $15,000 doing it, but he doesn't want to continue living for the man, and he wants to escape the drug racketing business that is around him. Yeah, I can't imagine you getting liberated off the money you made censoring our show. Wow, that would be kind of a trip, wouldn't it? Well, if you're willing to live in an apartment-style St. Louis, Missouri house, this one's available for $13,999. All right. Ew. Now, you see, I don't think you'd want to fix this up. You seem like the kind of guy that would just want to buy a piece of land on Craigslist. I know. Well, the thing is, yeah, I know, you'd stick out. Let's not put you in St. Louis. Let's put you outside of Kansas City, Missouri. Yeah, that's where I checked last time. And I found you that you don't want to live on that Civil War lot. It's only $2,750. You could be the proud owner of a Civil War memorial site, and you could park an RV there. You didn't like the deal I found for $8,000 total dollars, where you buy that site over in Kansas City, Baxter, Kansas City, or Baxter, Kansas. You need a place in South America to escape your drug dealers? Wow. I don't really know if Donald Trump had anything to do with the death of all these people that are, you know, related to Deutsche Bank and Epstein. Yeah, I wonder really if these were paid hits. We saw a couple things last night on our Epstein board that were pretty interesting. Yeah, there's a Civil War lot in Baxter. I think it's here. I found it. It's called Real Estate for Sale. And Craigslist is a better place to find real estate, I think, in your area. I do. Bob, I thank you for your endorsement. I appreciate it. We'll need an honest person as president. I'm willing to risk my life to do this. Not many people in the world would. A lot of these houses are available, but they're like rentals. Open land. $4,000. Okay, here you go. Kansas City, Kansas. It's not that far away from you, but it's a beautiful lot right there. It's a beautiful grassy lot. You can do anything with this lot. Let's get started with a trailer in your area. It's ready for residential build, agriculture, or modular home. Free and clear with no liens. $3,000. You're not going to find a better deal for a lot near you. What Trump has done to Asian Americans, Asians around the world, is reprehensible. Let's take a look. Yeah, I think that's a really good lot. It doesn't have the all the entanglements of a civil war.
Hi, everybody. Oh, it is July 2020.
2020. This is Never Lose Truth, Kafka of Kafka Winston World fame, and she's down to 9.7. Actually 9,000. What happened to all her subscribers? Is this her second account? Did she lose her first account? I think she did. Wow. She had like 30,000 followers. Now she's down to 9. She keeps getting knocked off, and she's such a truth teller. I like that about her. She's had 2 accounts just to keep herself going. Well, I'm definitely going to subscribe. I'm definitely subscribed already. Okay. Well, we'll play her stuff tonight. The treatment of Asian people by Trump. All right. Definitely look at that. It's really easy to find property at low cost near Kansas, for real. $3,000 is, I mean, how are you going to lose? You give the guy cash, you got yourself a place to park a trailer. Worst case scenario is you can get the heck out of Dodge. I showed you there's a fifth wheel right near this location in Kansas for $4,000. Really nice one too. It's still available. You could have it towed to that location. You're in there for a total of $7,000-8,000, and you still have $7,000 to live on. You can get out of that drug-infested hellhole in St. Louis you're in. Don't get the test. There's proof of nasal vaccines. Exactly. This is what I was telling people about. Yeah, some people think that they're going to be spraying us with COVID-19 when they do the test. Here's a white Antifa man beating up a black BLM protester. Okay, this is not unheard of when George Soros supported groups start fighting each other. I feel so sorry for the parents of some of these kids. I really do. I mean, can you imagine that being your daughter in the middle of this hellhole and riot, thinking she's fighting for a cause and you can't convince her otherwise? I feel bad for you parents, I really do. Many of them are paid groups, RQA, Atelier. Many of them are. Black Lives Matter, we know, gets money from the Muslim Brotherhood and from George Soros who does also support the Muslim Brotherhood. So speak for yourself, Blue Medic. I don't know. This didn't seem like a scuffle. It was more like a scuffle. A couple of, it wasn't a big fight. I mean, come on. We know Black Lives Matter and Antifa-crats work together for Soros. We know that. Okay, this is an interesting little story. 2 boys dropped dead in China while wearing masks during gym class. This makes me think there's something other than COVID-19 to worry about. Remember when Wuhan became the #1 place where people died? Well, it turns out Wuhan was the center of the 5G rollout in China. And it just so happens the symptoms of 5G radiation poisoning are identical to the symptoms of COVID-19. Rash, Kawasaki type rash, lack of smell, lack of touch, breathing disorders, gasping for air, coughing, dry cough. So what's going on? Are our schools being weaponized with 5G? Is that what's causing kids to die? But breathing through a mask shouldn't make them die. 2 Chinese boys dropped dead within a week, one another while wearing masks during gym class. The students, who were both 14, were each running laps for a physical examination test when they suddenly collapsed at the track. One of the teens was only minutes into his gym class when he fell backward in the Henan province. He was wearing a mask while lapping the running track, then he suddenly fell backwards and hit his head on the ground. They tried to help him, but no avail, he died. But no autopsy was performed. I don't think the Chinese want to know about the truth behind what these people are dying of either. I don't know. It sounds to me like this could be hypoxia, lack of oxygen, or carbon dioxide poisoning, or possibly even radiation from some nearby terminal. Who knows? We have another bit from Cabin Talk tonight. Claudia from Cabin Talk is very unhappy lately because she's not getting, well, for the same reason we're unhappy, so we can all kind of commiserate with her. Be careful that you don't wake up one morning in a world you no longer love. Now, many of us are concerned about Claudia because she seems like she's very down in lieu of the COVID-19 disorder. That, do I think COVID-19 was man-made? I know COVID-19 was man-made. This story I published today on Twitter, you can take a look at this. I had to pull some of these stories up from the early days. We knew everything about COVID-19 5 months ago. To this day, our government hasn't even revealed all the information we know. I know that if you have type O, you're less likely to get it. It's less likely to happen. And that means most of us are type O. So, I mean, O positive or O negative is protected. So that makes me believe that there's not a big, huge threat to some minor influenza problem. We also know that it's got the same 4 markers identical to the AIDS virus set. There's over 200 AIDS viruses. They all have the same markers. And Chinese scientists discovered HIV-like features in coronavirus mutations. Because the virus is mutating constantly, there's no way a vaccine could ever be made. And the recent Moderna trials have proven to be a disaster. They developed antibodies and then they disappeared right away, showing that there is no vaccine possibility here. And by the way, they have seen good results from hydroxychloroquine. That's right. And a lot of people have died because the corrupt media demonized hydroxychloroquine to basically overtake Trump. And Trump didn't have a medical knowledge to understand what to do to defend himself. I would have defended hydroxychloroquine. Even though I'm not a doctor, I would have given them the necessary response, and the FDA never would have done that. You can see how completely powerless Trump is. He can't even fire the FDA director when he decides that hydroxychloroquine is illegal in the United States, when it's a perfectly good treatment plan. So I'm telling people who do get any type of COVID symptoms that they may want to consider just going out and getting tonic water with quinine in it. Don't overdo it, but do take that with zinc as a supplement, because it will give you a similar, almost a placebo, but better effect, because quinine is in the same family as hydroxychloroquine. So that's a really good remedy. I went out and bought a bunch of that stuff as soon as we found out it was a possible solution. We heard it from a doctor. So if you think that's a good alternative to hydroxychloroquine, definitely consider that, getting some tonic water in your house and keeping it around in case something like that happens. Most tonic water has GMO corn syrup in it, though, so you have to actually look for ones that don't, if you really want to have a safe tonic water. Anyway, these stories are real. And yeah, we've known a lot about the coronavirus. It's been tested for 17 years and they haven't come up with a vaccine for it, just like they can't come up with a vaccine for AIDS. So all the scams that the government's pulling right now is just bullshit. Utter bullshit. They're forcing us into a slave-like state with masks on. They're subjugating our population. We're going to see massive rent problems in about 2 months. They say African Americans and Mexicans and Hispanics will be facing huge rent problems because a lot of them aren't working. And there's no relief in sight from Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. So I don't see how the Democrats are expecting to win this election by tanking our economy. They think that by tanking our economy, and Nancy Pelosi's been overheard talking about this with her cronies, by letting the economy collapse, they could literally, they think that we're all going to not vote for Trump because it's his fault, they're thinking. When bumbling, idiot, babbling Biden absolutely supports the shutdown of the economy. I would never have shut down our economy, nor would I keep you people all tied up, forced into masks. No one would be required to wear a mask in our country. I like Brian Kemp of Georgia now. He actually did the right thing by getting 1,000 National Guardsmen into Atlanta. And I applaud that effort, because look what Trump's doing. He's creating a private junta federal SS force. Without any oversight and any transparency, he's going into cities like Portland and extracting people, and God knows where they're going. The local Walmart detention center. Okay, I'm going to do a little round robin as we close down. I do extended shows sometimes because we don't know how many people are on UHF at any given time, but we know we're being broadcast over the whole world. So, the Department of Homeland Security reportedly sending 150 agents to Chicago in an expansion. Trump and other officials say the feds may be soon coming to other major cities as well. This is a New World Order governance thing. This is not National Guard being brought in for purposes designated to solve and remediate problems in cities. There's the same set of markers found on Streptococcus, herpes virus in mice and rat. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of 4 markers all over the place. The reason why this virus they're unable to get a vaccine for it is because it's mutating in the RNA sequence. The RNA sequence is the KF end of the nucleide. The endonucleus itself is got 25,000 markers, which are part of the KM. And they basically took 2 bat SARS, call it SARS 1 and 2, and merged them into one. This was biologically created in a lab. It's a bioweapon, bioengineered weapon. And because it is mutating, it is also mutating in the host. So that means when you get it, you'll never get rid of it. It's kind of like, they say there's neural problems that persist in our brain and lay in our nerves for years to come, and that's exactly what COVID does. So it's all about building personal immunity to resolve your physical problems, because these viruses, there are a lot of them in our body. We're dealing with viruses all the time, and many of them are mutating, but not in the way the RNA ones are. When mankind decided to mess with the RNA sequence of this virus, that's when they really created a crazy and disturbing virus. The reason why this virus was created in 2003 was because they were trying to duplicate the Spanish flu. Same with the swine flu in 2010. They tried to duplicate the Spanish flu. These people are genocidal maniacs who want to kill off the population. They claim they're coming up with a strain to prevent it from growing, but in fact, they're the ones that are actually trying to push the virus onto the society. Thank you. Their big goal is to do exactly what John D. Rockefeller and Dr. Frederick Gates did in 1918, which was contaminate 500 million vaccinations and kill 100 million people. That's what they did in 1918 with bad vaccinations. Oh yeah, but the mutating RNA ones there's no way we can come up with a vaccine for it. It's mutating in your body. What makes you think we're going to have herd immunity either? I'm just trying to help you guys with logic. Simple logic can defeat Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and anyone else, because top microbiologists confirm what I'm saying is true. Good night, Bob. Thanks for coming in. Okay, we're going to do a little round robin of what's happening in the news. Seattle rioters have seen damaging looting stores, 2 arrests, 12 cops. This is an actual link that was brought to us by an AI system last night, telling us that they are using like bots throughout the world. China has all these iPhones set up on a grid in racks, and they have them all doing automatic functions run by a computer. Daisy Chain together, it's controlled by 2 computers, and it's a like bot in server rooms that they create. Now they're selling this service to put likes on everybody's account that pays them, undermining the very thing we call social networking, or the social monitoring programs like Facebook and Twitter. It makes it all irrelevant. They're able to duplicate likes from any source with computers. And that link came to me from a computer too, which is really weird. This is strange. Elon Musk says Neuralink will stream music straight into your brain. I don't trust Elon Musk. I don't trust anybody who wants a transhumanist approach to technology. I have more of a hands-off approach to technology. I believe that you should hold it at arm's length. The very fact that Elon Musk won't warn people of the dangers of radiation from the 5G network, which he himself is installing in the sky, makes you really question his honesty. I'm more than sure that Elon Musk is on the take with the 5G network as well. So when he says he wants to stream music straight into our brain, I'm going to say, I'm going to use my ears, thank you. World Health Organization claims there's another dangerous virus on the horizon, but isn't that what they always say? Remember, in 2010 they pushed the swine flu on us, and that didn't really get any real solid response, so they kept pushing the coronavirus on us recently. 600,000 people died of the swine flu, by the way, way more than the current COVID-19 thing, unless of course you believe fake numbers. And this big story tonight, the woman investigating Jeffrey Epstein's Deutsche Bank accounts, she lost her son and her husband was wounded in an attack by a guy the police are pegging as some sort of a crazed attorney who liked to dress up as a FedEx officer. I don't buy the story. And then he dies right away. I don't buy that story either.
Begin with breaking news in New Jersey. A deadly shooting inside the home of a Newark federal judge. Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Torres.
And I'm Sandra Bookman. The gunman in this shooting still on the loose. Police say he was dressed as a Federal Express delivery driver when he knocked on the door of District Court Judge Esther Salas. She was not hurt, but both her husband and her son were shot.
Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang joins us from the scene in North Brunswick. Lucy?
Well, Joe and Sandra, it is a terrible tragedy here in North Brunswick, where we are learning the son has died. He was the son of two prominent parents here in New Jersey. Now we understand he was killed, shot in his home, according to the mayor of North Brunswick. I'm standing here on Point of Woods Drive. Right behind me is the crime scene, a well-manicured suburban community where there was a fatal ambush tonight. According to officials, someone posing as a FedEx driver arrived at the family's home around 5 o'clock this evening while it was still bright outside. When the son answered the door, we're told he was shot and killed. Investigators say the gunman then shot the father multiple times. We understand the father is a criminal defense attorney. We are awaiting word on his condition. Meanwhile, it is now confirmed the mother is a federal judge. The Honorable Esther Salas is the first Latina in New Jersey to serve on a federal bench. Apparently, she was not hurt. It's not clear who was the intended target. Authorities believe the killer took off in the same FedEx truck. As you can imagine, there is now an intense manhunt to find the gunman. The FBI is now leading this investigation with assistance from the New Jersey State Police, the North Brunswick Police Department, and the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office. No comment yet from the FBI at this early stage of the crime. The mayor of North Brunswick is personal friends with the judge and her husband. He gave us this interview just a short while ago.
Judge Esther Salas and her son, Mark Andrew and Daniel, who is a freshman in college, live in North Brunswick. And at some point today, someone who was apparently dressed as a Federal Express driver rang or knocked on the door, and when it was answered, he shot. And the Mark Andrew has come through a surgery tonight and is now listed in stable condition. And very sadly, Daniel has died. And I understand that Judge Salas is not physically harmed.
Well, they claim they've got the alleged shooter in custody. I'm not buying it. Everything looks too pat. It looks like it was all set up. They already had this guy fingered for the crime. I don't know. It is an open and shut case. Whenever there's an open and shut case, it usually is some sort of a cover-up. Well, obviously we're having problems with the signal, so yeah. We found a little glitch in the system. Okay, there we go. All right, coming in on the final 5 minutes of the show, I did an extended broadcast because I was away making dinner earlier, and I wanted to give you guys a little extra time to talk about things, but nothing's much to talk about. I'm getting threatened in a room by somebody who's not invited to ever come here, and claiming he's going to arrive tomorrow. And I told him I'm gonna get a restraining order on him as soon as he gets here, and I'll be charging him with stalking. Now, I didn't want to go down this road, but it'll affect the rest of your life, or at least 5 years. Once I go down that road, you won't be able to ever work again, or at least for 5 years. We're not talking about that right now, man. We got bigger problems. We got a world that's turning upside down. Something's way beyond everything going on here. Okay, I'm going to take a look at Office of Emergency Management one more time.
That was the mayor of North Brunswick. According to the mayor, Judge Salas has received threats from time to time, but nothing recently. The U.S. Marshals have now been called to provide security for the judge. Again, no word yet on her husband's, or you just heard the mayor's update on the husband's condition, but no word yet on a motive for this bloody attack at their home. It's not clear.
She's investigating Epstein's Deutsche Bank account, and there's no motive? I'm sorry, but there's a motive there. They don't like people investigating Epstein. The federal government, the FBI, already told Alex Acosta to back off. He was an intelligence. I mean, they covered up Epstein's death. They got him out. He's alive, I'm sure doing a good job. Now they don't want any of his money taken away. They don't want penalties, so they're probably making phone calls to her saying, yeah, you better do the right thing. You know, we wouldn't want anything bad to happen to anyone else in your family. You got to wonder. Okay, we're rounding out the corner here. We talked a lot about bad things that are going on around the world with child trafficking. We're not really going to get anywhere solving it, but we will play a video tonight called An Open Secret, which should talk about that in detail. Finding out about the evil that's going on in the inner circle of our government. I failed to mention to you, thanks. I failed to mention to you that there was a relationship between Tony Podesta, John Podesta's brother, and Dennis Hastert, our former Speaker of the House, that served 13 months for butt raping 4 boys when he was a wrestling coach. Now, I don't know anybody who would get charged 13 months for butt raping 4 boys when they were a wrestling coach, but other than Jeffrey Epstein trafficking 47 girls got 13 months. It seems like 13 months is the magic number they give anybody who in government, like Dennis Hastert, who is a good close friend of Tony Podesta. They grew up together. They were in the Cub Scouts together. That tells you a lot right there. Meanwhile, we've got Joe Biden basically doing absolutely nothing to advance the message of the Democrats. There's been no talk of any solutions for defunding the police from Joe Biden. Now, I'm the originator of the defund the police idea, unless they do sensitivity training. So Joe Biden doesn't even have a plan. I've already got the plan laid out. The shoot to kill policy would turn into the shoot to maim policy. Whereas if a person's presenting a weapon, they could still get shot by a cop. But if they're reaching in their pocket for something, they can only be maimed. It's a simple concept. It's not really that hard to change what the cops do right now to where we're at and where we should go. It'll also include a, thank you, it'll also include a personality exam to weed out the bad cops and give them another alternative.
Really?
Give them another alternative to, the current the personalities of the current cops. If they don't meet the criteria, they could have a desk job. Or if they have the intelligence, they could be moved up to detective. Because what I want to do is restructure the way policing is done in America. So less emphasis on street cops, traffic cops, more emphasis on beat cops, the beat cops who live in the city, who go on the street, meeting the people, not the ones that are driving through at 60 miles an hour to their donut shop, or pulling people over on the highway for going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, or having a missing tail light. That type of policing is unnecessary for our country. We have absolutely no need for that, and there's no proof it works either. Nor was there any harm done when somebody drives over the speed limit. So cops are being put in harm's way when they pull people over. Why are we having them pull people over for that reason? Going 5 miles an hour of the speed limit. So a different way of policing, a different approach, and try to get the number of people being beaten up by cops and killed by cops down from the current 1,000 per year in America. Half of which are not even armed, 1/4 of which are disabled, die by cop. All right, so to kind of bring things around, we're going to make sure that Tucker Carlson will be seen after the show. He's saying that they're getting intrusive reporting by the New York Times when his one and only speechwriter who writes all of his copy, they had to hire somebody else because Tucker is the teleprompter reading news guy. He can't talk extemporaneously like I do every night. He simply needs a teleprompter, and I think he's pissed off that his the racist slurs of his speechwriter got that job taken away, and now he's angry at the New York Times. So we'll play that after the show. All right, that's it for today. Conspiracy Monday is obviously an ongoing theory. Tomorrow we'll talk about the truth and what we do know, and the limits to what we know, and why we don't know things. We can find out more following cover-ups, more about the truth by following cover-ups than we can pontificating what theories could be going on right now. We know that they're covering up certain things in this current Ghislaine Maxwell situation. We know that there's been no mugshot of hers, so we'll talk more about that. Today we did a really good job of looking at a possible submarine plan of people trafficking children called an organization called SCAB. And it's some sort of a secret underground trafficking of children going on around the world through submarines. How weird is that? All right, thanks very much for coming in. Yeah, Tucker is really kind of the golden child of the Republican Party, and like Trump and like all the other Republicans for many years back, they absolutely need to read off a teleprompter. And Tucker is a kind of guy that, I don't know, why would a person be on TV every day when they're slated to inherit the entire Swanson fortune? I mean, this guy doesn't even need to work. I don't get it. Why does he draw a salary? He could easily be replaced by somebody who's not a teleprompter reader, per se. Somebody that easily has a better view of the world and a much more centrist view. I don't mind some of the speech writing that Tucker does, but it's getting a little bit over the board ridiculous. The right-wing slurs against the left. I mean, this is a divisive guy. He's not solving America's problems. He's not looking for a better future. He's not trying to unite the country. That's my point. All right, I'm going to sign off, but thank you for everything. It's been fun. Yeah, hasn't been real fun, but it's been fun. There's only so much we can do with people threatening me in the room while I'm doing a show. All right. Okay, I'm Mr. Right, signing off. Take care. I'll be back tomorrow with another show at 5 o'clock for Truth Tuesday. Take care.
You're Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good to be true. You spin my world around, 'cause you're the peace I find. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. My Mr. Right, too good to be true. My world around, 'cause you're the peace I find. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. My feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. You're my Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good